Good morning, good people, fellow humans. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning here on Sunday, January 19th, 2025. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is G.school, where is part of helping our students and other people on their journey through this life. Today we focus on the fourth part of our four-part program, which is the spiritual side. Monday through Friday, we focus on the physical, mental, and emotional parts of life, three of the four legs of the table. Today it is the fourth leg, the spiritual side, the most important one. And so if it was a boat, the spiritual is like the hull. As long as the hull is intact, you're not going to drown. Everything else could be gone. You could have the sails are down, the steering mechanism is down. There's water or something below deck, so everything down there is kind of soggy and ruined and really bad, but the hull is intact. So you've got something to work with. You can bail out the excess water, clear out the below deck, fix the steering mechanism, fix the sails. You can do all that as long as the hull is intact. But if the hull is breached, you're going down. It's going to be really bad. Best case, you're going to be grabbing onto some driftwood, praying that someone's going to come along and save you. So the spiritual is the most important part. It's that fourth leg of the table that really gives it the strength to carry a heavy load, to take all of the treasures, all of the experiences of life, and be able to bear them. If you have a weak spiritual side, that's like the one leg of the table that gives out. A lot of the stuff falls off, or you just can't bear as much weight. You can't stack the table really high. You got to keep things away from that corner because it'll tip over. So that's the focus of today. Yesterday we started talking about pre-marital sex. Is it okay? We're going to continue with that. But first, a word from our sponsors. No, first, our worksheet. So the way we do it here is we provide the most tools through the worksheet. The worksheet is the experts. Like who, Johnny? Well, let's see. Like TED Talks. So we have a new TED Talk every day. Today happens to be an excerpt from the movie Jerry Maguire, talking about compelling stories. This is the Help Me Help You story. Maybe we'll talk about that. Seth Godin, expert. Prayers. And these are prayers from Jesuits, Jesuit prayers. Bunch of Bible quotes, this is because this is G.school, we don't have a lot of the other things. This is mainly scriptural stuff, commands of Jesus. So there are about 25 commands from Jesus and a few from the epistles. But that's it. All right. Okay, so that's today. We've got some other things, the Joe Riley prayer. Okay. Let's talk about Seth Godin for a second. Well, let's see. How are we doing for time? Time, such a runic rhyme. What not a bevy is in the house. How was yesterday in a word other than blessed or blessed? How are things in Fort Jacks? We need to know. I was at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Las Vegas again yesterday from 10 till 1, 3 hours, Bible study for an hour, then a couple hours of their regular service. Very good. It is uplifting to see people dressed well for church, participating, bringing their families, their kids. It's encouraging when you think about it from the perspective of church of the future. What's it going to be like? Rainy. It's rainy in Fort Jacks. So that was good. And then after a little bit of other stuff, went to Mass, 5 o'clock Mass. And that is always comforting. Totally different breed of cat. 2 different type of events. The Catholic Mass is participation in the Eucharist, celebration, the Last Supper, different approach to the readings, whereas in the Seventh-day Adventist, the Bible study is asking questions of people. It's participation. Good tech, presentation. You can watch it on your phone or the big screen. Very good tech. Good. And then the service is the service, and it starts out with worship and kids running around grabbing money or looking for donations, and then the other donation, tithing, and then the plus talk, which I find difficult to stay awake through. I get very relaxed and drift into it. So, yeah. But it was good. Glad to be there. Impressive. And it really makes anything up here look like second rate. Oops. But when you have 1 million people to pull from, there's 1 in 300, that's 3. So you've got maybe 3,000 Seventh-day Adventists in Vegas, and you need to have a place like this. Nice church. Okay, so 725 in. Seth Godin, don't steal the revelation. Don't steal the revelation. Learning is a journey of incompetence. It's a journey of incompetence. First, we realize there's something we don't know. Then we see that we're going to be better at it, and we're not good at it yet. Then we figure it out, and we succeeded. We've succeeded. Repeat. Okay? Realize there's something I don't know. See that we're going to get better at it, and we're not good at it yet. Repeat. Repetition, figure it out, and we've succeeded. When we pre-process the information and simply test people on it, there's no real learning going on. We become what we do, and if we actually solve the riddle, we're more likely to have it stick than if someone simply tells us the answer. The job of the teacher is to create the conditions for the student to explore their incompetence long enough to learn something useful. Okay, repeat that. The job of the teacher is to create the conditions for the student to explore their incompetence long enough to learn something useful. Aha. That kind of turns the whole thing around this way, right? And that should be a learning thing from the position of there's things we don't know. There's things we don't know that we should know. And the way we're going to know them is to learn. And the best way to learn is to be able to do it. And then that would be the Barbara Oakley thing of chunking. First I learned this, then I had this, then I had this, then I had that. Excuse me. I don't know if coffee. All right. So, rainy and meaningful. Today is meaningful. So what kind of rain is it? Is it chubby rain? Is it a driving rain? Is it a light rain? What kind of rain is it? Cleansing rain? Let's always try to add 2 words or at least 1 word to describe the noun. Or is that a verb? Raining. It rained. Rain on you, on and off. Yes is cleansing. Yes, cleansing. Okay, cleansing rain. The streets will be clean. Cozy. Hey, what happened to my screen? Okay, there we are. Back again. All right, so recap yesterday. Premarital sex. Well, starting in the Old Testament, because there are 2 of the 10 commandments having to do with sex. One is adultery, one is not adultery, doesn't need to be adultery. So we start with thou shalt not commit adultery. So what is adultery? Adultery is sex outside of marriage, your marriage. You're not committing adultery if you're not married. The married woman next door is committing adultery if she has sex with you. Okay? But that is coveting your neighbor's wife. In this case, neighbors, literally, they live next door. They're your neighbor, not the figurative, we're part of this tribe or this clan or this community. As opposed to you're one of the enemy. I'm in the army, you're an enemy, and we get to pillage. Type of thing. So thou shalt not. So the Old Testament, adultery is you're married, you're having sex with somebody else while you're married. Can't do it. You're not married, or you're married. You're having sex with your neighbor's wife or your neighbor. Can't do it. Not good. What's the prescription? What is prohibited of you're not married and she's not married? The 10 commandments don't apply. There's something in the other 600 laws having to do with prostitution. Because remember, they were going to stone the prostitute. But prostitution was a thing. Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. There's the prostitute that Jesus saved. Whoever's without sin cast the first stone. There's the woman at the well, the Canaanite. And there's a lot of women in Jesus' group going with not prostitutes, but it looks like Jesus doesn't have this strict women stay away, or if you are a prostitute, I'm going to condemn you as a prostitute. Doesn't seem to be that. It's more of the, so if you're a prostitute, what's the sin? Well, having men commit adultery, or encouraging men, or making it easy for men to commit adultery. Conspiring with men to commit adultery. Aiding and abetting men committing adultery. That would be a sin. I think it's a bad idea, Matt. I think it's a really bad idea. And if it's Christopher, it's a very bad idea. If it's the young guy, Christopher, it's a very bad idea. It's not a financial decision. And I think there's a new rate for you anyway, and you didn't have to pay for the month of January, so it's not really about that. But you're a big boy, so if you think it's about money, if it's about money because you want money for other purposes, and it seemed like you made it for a year and a half, paying a certain amount, you could afford to do it, you were saving money. What's the challenge now? It's not about money, it's about moving forward. But you're 34, and if you think that, oh, Tony introduced me to this guy, number one, and number two, it's cheaper. If that's your thought process, I would say that's the kind of thing an idiot would do. I don't know the person. I'm really going to spend time thinking about sharing a room with this guy because it's cheaper. And then what? That's the question. And then what? That's the question they ask. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the topic. Premarital sex. So, Old Testament commandments, laws don't seem to be against premarital sex per se. Like there isn't a no sex before marriage. You have the betrothal period where we are committed to be married, but we have this period of time. And during this period of time, I've got to make sure you're not pregnant by someone else. Now, these people that talk about this Galilean wedding is, well, we're committed to be married, but we're not going to get married until you build me a house, and your dad is the one who decides, and it's kept a secret. Nobody's going to know when the day is. We could walk over there. We could walk over and see what the status is. We could talk about when does it look like, but now during this betrothal period, the bride is going to wear her wedding dress every day because it could be this day, even though it looks like we're a couple months away. We're waiting for the father-in-law to decide, the kid's dad to decide. I mean, that's goofy, cuckoo stuff that no rational people would do a ritual like that because it's dumb. Okay. But if you have a betrothal period where you are not living with the person, and it brings shame if she gets pregnant during the betrothal period, the question is, who is the father? Also, in The Chosen, they make a big point of women have to be chaperoned when they're with men. Why? Why? Because of sex, obviously. Either men feel they can rape women or they can have sex with women, that their natural thing is we're animals and we have to give in to our urge. But why would people have to be chaperoned? Well, often members of the woman's family, people that could trust, that the dad, whoever the family could trust, people who won't cover up for the boy. So you have this betrothal period. And why do you do that if you're not worried about them having sex? If they don't have sex, we don't proscribe behavior. We don't prohibit behavior that we don't do. We don't go around saying to people, okay, don't carry pieces of rope in your pocket and make knots all day. Practice making knots. We don't do that because people don't go around carrying pieces of rope and making knots. Okay, we don't say, don't sharpen your knife during the day. Don't carry your knife sharpener around during the day. Why? Because people don't do that. We don't say, don't go striking a flint every day, because people don't do that. We don't say, don't carry a little Coke bottle full of gasoline around with matches. We don't say, we don't proscribe that, because people don't run around doing that. But we do have a law that's in general, don't do things like this. So the fact that things are prohibited, there are statutes, rules prohibiting behavior, means that people are doing the behavior and they shouldn't. So it seems that what it comes down to is immoral. You cannot be lustful, one-night stands, stuff like that. That's what's prohibited, not a relationship. And the new sexual therapy thing is the scientists say, don't get married until you really know if you're compatible with the person. That's how you stop divorce. Get to know the person. Be engaged for 5 years or date for 5 years till you really get to know them. And part of it is, are you sexually compatible? Do you have the same view of the world? The more you are alike the person or complementary with the person, the greater the chance that you're going to have a good marriage. The old days of marriage are gone, which the practical reasons to get married. That guy's from a good family. Those days are going to be gone behind us, not to come back. But we're at 20 minutes. Time to cut. What, not a bevy, are you working today? I'm not suggesting it. I'm saying they're giving that as an example of if it's 5 years and you keep with the goal of figuring out, are we compatible? I think, what, not a bevy, you know somebody that's been at it for 15 years and they're not married yet. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, add cut. Oops. Sorry. Don't forget the Shivas and Shalom. Scott.